How to release the golf club through impact. Adam Bazalgette here, founder of Scratch Golf Academy. We'll look at two areas that we might consider the release. One would be, can you create enough snap that everything looks long and dynamic, not crumpled in? And of course, two, can you square the club face? Let's check those out. So number one on our list, this nice, long, dynamic look the pros get. You see so many players with crumpled up arms, that sort of a look through impact. Let's look at slow motion, give you a couple of checkpoints, then we'll work on that one first. So here we go. You can see the club's the other side of that tall, skinny tree nearest my head there, and it's well on this side now. It's loaded. In other words, I'm storing energy now. As we come in, the wrists begin to straighten, hands are past the ball, and it's at about there, maybe opposite that left thigh, where you'd really see both arms straight, maximum distance club head to chest, let's say. And if you drew a line up from the club there, it would point about somewhere in there, right about between my arms, whereas at that point, the club's more in line with my lead arm. So loading the club and popping the energy to about there before it rehinges. If you're interested, there's a free 7-video course on fixing your slice. Absolutely free, no credit card or anything. There's a link below. It's a really nice series I put together recently on how to work on the slice. Easy, actionable videos. Hope you'll like it. Well, could you crack a whip? If you didn't load the whip first, or a fishing rod, you have to load it to get the thing to cast and really send that, whatever that is, the hook out into the lake there. So job one is you've got to let it load. Now you need some grip pressure in golf, but you want to feel like your wrists are mobile. That is possible. Practice. Grab the club, feel plenty of pressure in your hands. In other words, the club's not going to fly out of there, but mobility in the wrists. You should feel the weight of the golf club. Here's a little drill I would recommend for you as you work on that. Short iron, I have an 8-iron here. I'm going to try to feel nice and bouncy there, again, like cracking the whip, and I'm going to hit this and try to stop as quickly as I can, even on a deluxe model recoil it. So small swing, try to pull it right back. That ball went out there probably 80% of a normal 8, or 70% of a normal 8-iron for me. Can you start to get in a fairly confined space here, some pop in the club? If you could, if you could skip a rock or crack a whip, I'm sure you could make some reasonable attempt at it. You have to practice that here. You'll feel, if it's new to you, a little bit of a loss of control. The club head's kind of disassociated. That's what you want, like the end of the whip, but keep at it. Let's do another one. Small one, I'm feeling extra bouncy. Pop the thing there and stop. And you'd want to go through a few of those, start to get some feeling of some energy. Again, it's the weight of that club cracking that is really going to help you get your arms along there, assuming you've loaded it, and then go to some full swings, and then back to these into some full swings. Now, before we look at the element of squaring the face up, one little passing thought. If I'm hitting a 15-yard pitch, that's much more together. You don't see all that snap of the whip then. Makes sense, obviously, not trying to hit the ball far. So this applies to full shots when you need some pop. So you'll see me in my downswing there. Now, as I come in there, the club face is obviously well to the right of the target, or somewhat to the right of the target line here, but it's beginning to tilt towards the ball pretty nicely there. Looks like a good square hit. And roughly speaking, as that face closes, it's closing in a relationship to the circular nature of the arc. It's not toe way wrapped over, but the face is snapping down where it gets a square hit. Okay, a couple of words here before we work on this. Great golfers don't turn their trail arm out like that to square the face and roll their shoulders. You want your trail arm, your right arm, like this to compress the ball. So that means you're squaring it with a tilt of the wrist. That's what you should be primarily feeling, not this sort of jazz. Obviously, your grip is important. This isn't a grip lesson, but if it's down in the fingers under that pad enough, it gives you mobility. And if it's down there, it should wrap over enough, this lead hand, that you see some knuckles, no fingertips, and a bit of angle. Way easier to tilt the face when you do that. I see so many people grabbing it on the side of the club in the palm. That is really hard to get enough supination to close that face. And remember as well, we worked on lag and pop at the beginning of this video. The more lag you have, the more it tends to aim the face out to the right. So you need even more of that. Okay, let's work on it. Controlling the club face through impact. Seriously, it's the most difficult thing to do. Even the greatest of players in the world don't do that perfectly all the time. They don't swing way off plane suddenly randomly, but they don't always control the club face properly. It's difficult to do. A few degrees makes a huge difference. So you have to play around with the variable to build skill. I know I say that in these videos if you watch my videos, but it's true. I walked into the store a while back and saw as a checkout area how to have 6-pack abs in 2 weeks. That's not going to happen. It might sell a magazine, but that isn't going to happen. So here's what we do. You have to feel boundaries. So I'm in this one, I'm going to hit a fairly small one and really over trap the face. Oh, ball a screaming low draw to the left there. And in this one, I'm going to try to feel just as dynamic, but come here and leave the heel ahead of the toe a little bit. You could see that ball go way right. Now that's an extremely big spread, but until you can do big, you can never learn to do very small. So the goal would be practice these a little bit, flare a few there and a few there with no other variable than how you're squaring the club. Then bring it in. Try to hit some straight ones. Try to hit some moderately left and right ones. It's fun. And these things will help you gain skills, gain some ownership, so that when you're on the golf course and you absolutely cannot hit it to the right, you know what it feels like to do it. So for the snap of the club, we've got to build some load and some pop, got to do those drills. And of course, to square the face, the factors we talked about, how we're squaring it, but you have to practice a bit to build skill. Hope this helps.